Hi guys, welcome to traumapondhq. I'm Olivia and we're going to sit by the pond and have a little chat. Except we're not going to just have a little chat today. Today we are actually going to sit and watch some fish in the pond. So, okay, that sounds really weird. I really need to have something better, guys. Can you message me, DM me, tell me, how should I introduce this? Um Anyway, I have actually been wanting to do this for a little while. And I did actually say it in the last podcast or the previous introductory one, was that I think it's kind of good to have these reality shows that show people for what they are. It's unscripted, but it is edited. And yes, I completely agree that the edit can make someone look better or worse than what they actually are. But the thing is, I genuinely believe that on those reality shows, there are no scripts. I do know that the producers are very manipulative. They have extreme tactics to try and get people to do certain things. But that doesn't excuse away from certain people, being even under a certain amount of pressure, letting their true selves come out. So don't get me wrong, everybody can snap in extreme ways of pressure, but this is why I want to break down certain characters that were on, especially in the season just gone. So I don't know about you, but I could not watch the last season of MAFS, and there's a big reason for that. One of the characters on that was extremely manipulative, or at least portrayed that way. And of course, we do have to be open-minded to the idea that yes, there is a certain element of manipulation from the actual show itself towards the candidates. But this particular character made me physically sick, like to the point where, like, and I hadn't even actually watched the show. I'd only seen snippets of it. It's very interesting watching certain things unravel when you're on the outside. So I wanted to look at a couple of ones that had really triggered me, but I couldn't find them anywhere. I'm not very savvy with an awful lot of things, but what I did do is, instead of going with one of the actual clips from MAFS, I thought that I would actually go with an interview where there is no edit. And this is a radio interview that Harrison has done on a talk show here in Australia. So I thought it was very, very interesting. Now, this is with Hughesy, Ed, and Erwin. And Harrison is on the show talking about one of the things that he got caught out for, which, by the way, on the show, he got caught out a lot. And that if you're a good person or you don't have any particular cluster B traits, if you're going to get caught out, once or twice for saying something quite bad, that's okay. That's fine. Even up to 5 times, but he was caught out on every single episode from what I can gather. So we're going to have a little look at this particular interview. I've only watched a little bit of it, so I haven't actually watched the whole thing, but I just thought that this would be a really good indication. So I think I've watched the first 3 minutes of it, and then I thought I'd have like a genuine reaction for everything else and see if we can actually break it down in real time. So this is Harrison from MAFS talking about a situation that he got caught out on, and this is on radio with Hughesy, Ed, and Erwin, and there is footage for this, so I'm hopefully going to edit this properly. My partner's going to do it all, that's fine. All right, guys, let's watch.
His name is Harrison. You'll all know who he is. Welcome, Harrison.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, our producers were telling me that you were a little bit nervous about coming on because you think you might be in trouble.
Thankfully, they mentioned that. Yeah, it's good.
What would you be worried about when it comes to potentially your behaviour or last night's episode?
I think for me, this is like the first real mistake that I've made in the experiment last night. Now, there are times in life where I will back myself like 100%. I won't back down. And like, I felt like when I came into the experiment on the back of the wedding, I was like, no, I'm single. I don't feel like I've done anything wrong. I feel like I was single up until the point I got married. And I was like, I was kind of willing to die on that hill. This is not one of those times. This is one of those times where I was like, no.
Okay. Just for a little bit of context, potentially, I could be very wrong in this. I do know that the scandal that he was involved in was that he had someone on the outside before going in, and there was something about a woman that he was sleeping with up until he had to fly to Sydney or Melbourne where they were doing the show, and he ended up like texting this woman who he had convinced that he was going to stay with her on the outside after the show was aired. So the whole idea of MAFS is that you're supposed to go onto the show to meet your forever person. And if that's the case, you really shouldn't be seeing other people knowing that you're going to get married. Because it's not like he didn't know about getting married. You know, the good thing is that in Australia, it's not actually a legal binding marriage. It's just done that way for the show. I do believe that in America that it is an actual marriage, which I think is crazy. But yeah, it's kind of weird that he said that, you know, he was single up until the day he got married, or seeing someone up until the day he got married. Okay, that's already a red flag. So okay, let's watch a little bit more.
You know, I went out, you know, I was drinking and I handled a situation badly. And if I could go back and do it again differently now, I would. Watching it last night it was pretty confronting to see it, you know, play back, and I can definitely see what people are talking about. I just did not handle that situation well at all.
For those who might not be aware of what happened, let's have a listen.
Some girls came up to Dan and I at a bar. She goes, "You're so hot, can I get your number?" And I said, "No, but I'll take yours."
Oh, Harrison.
If I gave her my phone number, do you know how stupid I'd have to be to do that? She could text me anything. As soon as she walked off, I deleted it.
Yeah, I mean, you're listening to that and realise that's ridiculous.
Okay. Right. You're in an experiment where you're supposed to be married. Okay. A self-respecting person who is in a relationship, you know, it doesn't matter where it is in that relationship. It really doesn't matter. What does matter is that, you know, you're upfront and transparent and honest, you know, meeting other people. And on top of that, a girl went up to him. Okay, girls do go up to guys. It's I understand that it's a lot more rare. I mean, whenever I was single, I used to go up to guys all the time. But I would never go up and say, "You're so hot, can I get your number?" There has to be like a major conversation going on there. That's the thing. You have to have a conversation with someone before you even remotely consider exchanging numbers. So, I mean, it doesn't make an awful lot of sense. Okay, let's try more.
Did you really say you were so hot? But you said you were hot. Did you really say you were so hot? Did you say you're so hot?
Look, it happened the way I said it happened. I just think that it's so funny, though, that the experts are sitting in their chairs in the other room, putting it all on me and pretending like I'm trying to throw Dan under the bus. Dan's one of my best mates. There's no way I would throw my mate under the bus to protect myself. I actually, the way it happened is how I said it happened.
But so you and Dan, we already know Dan is with a guest who was at the wedding.
Yeah, exactly. Like making out like Dan's not a ladies' man is ridiculous.
So Dan,
Exactly.
Is he still a ladies' man?
He's dating someone that was at the front row of his bloody wedding.
Third row.
Oh, third row of his
But
wedding.
it looked like she was at the front row.
Yeah, exactly.
her boobs are in the front row, and she was just entering
exactly. I just think that the idea of like Dan being the innocent one is
Okay, maybe I should be analysing Dan. Who's Dan? That's... Okay. look, if there was ever any proof that people have gone onto this show solely just to have fame and fortune, it's, the last couple of seasons have definitely proved that. I mean, I'm not saying that all of them do it intentionally. I don't know why an awful lot of people would want to go on to a show such as MAFS. And if you are one of those people, please message me. I really want to know why you would want to actually go on to a show that exploits, your idea of meeting someone on such a massive scale so that the entire country sees it. And I know that even in some cases, especially last season, because of the bullying that was happening between the girls, I know that went global. So that is definitely something that, it's really hard to fathom, like in the scheme of everything that was going on. It's really... This is just weird. This is weird. I really don't understand how people could actually go on to this show, but I am not one to talk. I'm not one to judge. If this is what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But I would love to understand some of the reasons why, because looking for love, there are so many options nowadays, and doing it on TV, where you're also going to have to talk about your sex life as well. I understand that talking about sexuality and stuff like that is important, but like intimacy between couples, that does not need to be what dirty laundry out.
Is funny.
That's. I mean,
Yep.
Hang on, can we just...
we get that, yeah.
No, so Dan took the number, didn't he?
Look, I'm not going to say...
Dan took the number of that woman.
I'm not going to... No.
Because there's more for Dan to lose because he's got a relationship in the outside world.
At the end of the day, all I am saying is Dan is one of my best mates. I didn't throw him under the bus to protect myself. What happened was more questions got asked about the night, and I was like, look, I've actually got to, fall on my own sword here. I've got to come clean about what happened, and that's what I did.
Okay, 1 second. I got to fall on my own sword here. Okay, that's a very strategic use of language. I am all about analysing language and what people actually say, because it's been something that I've had since I was a little kid. You're saying certain words that are either very powerful or they don't correlate with something else that you've said. I've always been that way inclined. So that is a very choice, course of words to use to describe a situation where you're pretending to be a hero. Okay, the sword is saying something. Anything by a sword is extremely dramatic. Using the term sword is, that's even more powerful than gun, because it's really, if you think about the word of gun and you use the word sword, like if you use the two, that sword has got something so much more meaningful to it. And he's trying to be a hero in this situation as well to protect his friend. So he's really trying to martyr himself in this conversation. Just saying.
Can I ask how? So you get married. How many weeks down the track was this night out? Was it a week or 2 weeks, or from the actual marriage?
It was between when we moved into Sky Suites and.
So how long is that in days, or just roughly?
You're
a
asking
week,
me
2 weeks?
6 months ago to remember.
I know, but is it like the whole thing?
Sorry,
so within a
a
couple of weeks.
It was. I'd only been married for, I would say 2 or 3 weeks by this stage. So
yeah, right.
It's not like I'm used to going to bars and saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm married." It just wasn't. It wasn't a reflex for me. Do you know what I mean?
Can I put this to you though? When blokes, this happens, and women do it as well, but it's predominantly blokes. You're on a TV show, right? So you're not. It's all pretend. We get it, but you have committed to being in a relationship for an experiment. So by all means and purposes, that's your headspace should be. You've got a partner. Correct. When you go into a bar, I know as a person, when I've been single or whatever else, you make yourself open to women approaching you. If you do not want to be approached, unless you're Brad Pitt, you make it open. You make eyes, you engage in a way that a woman feels comfortable enough to come up and give you her number. Would you accept that?
I don't accept that.
Okay. All right. I believe that's Erin. I clearly don't do this an awful lot. But, okay, she made a really good point. That is very true. You do have a certain energy that whenever you go outside, whenever you're going out, you will portray a certain amount of energy to say that, I'm just here for, fun with friends. I'm just here to meet and hook up. I'll admit that back in my younger days, whenever I would go out and I wouldn't meet somebody, it would change me quite a bit. Like I would come off desperate, and I know I did. Okay, I'm very clued into the idea that I know that whenever I was younger, I came off desperate. And of course, those were the nights that I didn't meet anybody. There probably was other things there as well, but I certainly didn't meet anyone. But that is very true. If a guy comes off very open or is very, prowly or whatever it is, and Harrison, he's not a bad looking guy. Is he the kind of guy I would go for? Absolutely not. But he's not ugly. But he's also, maybe to certain women, he would be extremely attractive, and he probably would get, a lot of women come up and talk to him, but certainly not to be aggressive with the idea that, oh, you're really hot. Can I get your number? So, she's right. You do give off a certain amount of energy. But then I just stopped it just before whenever he says, no, I don't agree with that. And what, on men or women? This is going to be an interesting one because he's backtracking here, or he's like turning blame.
I don't accept that, no. And I've actually got a real issue with people insinuating that it's the guy's fault or that it's the girl's fault. It really takes two to tango.
No, absolutely. But she's probably absolutely.
Hold on.
Pipe
Can I please
down,
finish?
with you.
But she's probably
finish my
single,
point?
though, is she? The woman who's come up to you is probably single.
Can I please finish my point?
Of course
Is that
you
right?
can.
And then
Absolutely.
We'll come back. We'll circle back.
Absolutely. No, I'm
Can we come
fascinated by
back?
this.
Can you hold there, Harrison? Can we come back? You got hauled over the coals last night because you accepted a woman's number at a bar.
That he's now admitted was wrong. But my point is that to be in that situation and to be in a bar and to have a woman approach you means that in some way, shape or form, you've acted in a way that has given her the green light by either making eyes, by the way you're acting. I genuinely don't think it happens unless there is some kind of interaction that she says, okay, he's keen, because humans are terrified of rejection.
Yeah, and this was the conversation we were having before the break, is that I have a problem with the notion that like one person is more at fault or should be held accountable for those.
Okay. The reason why that there is one that is more at fault than the other. Okay. If this is a bar situation and nobody knows anybody, then the person, like the woman, let's say she is single and she does go up to him and she says, you're really hot and I want your number. Say that did happen. He's the one that is married. He's the one that's in a situation. She has no idea. And most likely, I could guarantee he was not wearing his wedding ring. I could guarantee he most likely wasn't. And if that is the case, then he's definitely, that's where the fault is, because you are the person who has the other person. So, okay. Not wanting to take any ownership, that's a very narcissistic trait. That is just wanting to push blame on everybody else. So, okay, he is living up to his reputation that was portrayed on the show. Not wanting to take ownership. Very much a narcissistic trait. So, okay, let's keep going.
Situations.
No, I'm talking about you and your partner. You're the only one at fault if you had a partner, a wife. I'm not talking about the girl who approached you. She's probably single. I'm not saying there's one person at fault over the other in that situation.
Did you have your wedding ring on at the time?
I did, yeah.
Was there a wedding ring on?
I was out with my ring on, yeah.
Yeah, right. So you had the ring on.
But you don't. So you genuinely don't think in any way that you were there and open to attention from other women.
It was a bar, and we were having a conversation in a group of people. I didn't actually know the conversation was forward until the question about the phone number came up.
So you were having a conversation with her prior,
yes.
and she said, "You're really hot. Can I have your number?"
Yes.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I take your point, but I do have an issue with the notion that like a man is at fault or a woman is at fault in these situations. I think it takes two to tango.
I agree entirely. But what my point is, if one of those people is in a relationship, then it's not about who's at fault out of the two in the bar. If one of those people's in a relationship, they're at fault. And I say this, by the way, to all those listening, you're on a TV show. You're not married with 3 kids. So we're not
No, I get it.
completely serious here because it is a TV show.
It makes sense. It makes sense if for me anyway, it would make more sense if the action was that I'd slept with her. That's definitely equal.
We don't know. You
into
definitely
that situation,
didn't.
right?
Did
but
you definitely not do that?
If you're just having like it's situational, I feel.
I'm sorry. Right. Okay. So much happened in that little snip. I should really cut this down. That's a lot. That is a lot. Okay. For one, he's comparing, sleeping together and getting the number. Is one worse than the other? Look, it's not about what the action is. It's what it does to the other person involved that isn't there. That's what this is about. So he doesn't want to take any ownership for that. And he's going, well, my crimes aren't that bad because I didn't sleep with her. What is actually blown my mind is how he completely ignored Husey. He is not, actually, now that I'm realizing, he has not taken his eyes off Erin, the female talk show host there. It's like he has got a beam on her. It is full on beam. Like he is really trying to, I don't know, is he trying to hypnotize her or something? I don't know. It's crazy that he's just not breaking eye contact. He's focusing completely on her and completely ignoring Husey. And I will say this, okay, for people who are watching this outside of Australia, you might not know who Husey is. Husey is a big TV personality. He's a talk show host. He's a comedian. I've seen a couple of his shows. He's relatively funny. He loves football. He's got an awful lot to do with football. And I'm nothing to do with football. So, but he's very well respected here in Australia. Very well respected. And the fact that Harrison has just completely ignored him and talked over him as well, completely disrespecting him. Because all of his focus is on Erin. Maybe because she is a very attractive woman. She's beautiful, and of course she's also in the industry. So that could also have something to do with it as well. But that's insane. I hope let's see.
I think if you're just having a friendly conversation and someone says, let's continue this beyond this conversation.
Absolutely. And then your response is, no, I'm in a relationship.
Exactly. And that
he did it again. Husey just asked him another question and he completely ignored him. And Husey noticed that time. He's blown away by how rude and arrogant Harrison is being. Now, this is not edited. This is a radio show. So they are actually genuinely wanting a conversation with him. And he is showing his true colors, which is exactly what we were trying to do. But I didn't want to rely on the whole MAFS thing. This is proof that actually the editing team for MAFS got it right. He really is this way. That is really disgusting behavior. And, I actually feel really bad for Husey in that situation because I can't imagine that Husey meets too many people that would give that amount of disrespect.
That's why I didn't handle the situation well. Yeah. So we agree on that.
Absolutely.
But I do.
But it is
just
MAFS
wanted
as well.
to push back on when I came into the experiment.
Here. Yeah.
When I
So
came
that's point one. We do need to move on.
But out. When I came into
Okay. Wow. Okay. I'm genuinely blown away by this. It's so weird. This is my first time doing this as well, by the way. So this is very odd for me to like actually break this down. I'm so sorry that, you know, this is a bit of a mess, but this is crazy. Hughesy then finally gets in. He edges his elbow in to try and take a little bit of control. I think Hughesy's also trying to rescue Aaron here. Like, he's, you know, him and his wife have been together for quite some time. I don't know what Hughesy is like behind the scenes. From what people have said about him outside of the industry, they actually said that he's a really nice guy. But that is insane. Like, disrespectful, over-talking, tells Hughesy to butt out. You know, okay, if that's done in a jokey way, that's done in a jokey way. But the other things have not been a joke. So this is now just him trying to use humor. But you know what? You use humor at the very start. You don't use it after you have ignored him 3 times already. Oh, I don't like this guy. I don't like him. He makes me I'm feeling sick.
The point
It's an
is,
experiment.
Harrison.
Hold on. I just want to finish my point.
Sorry,
Yeah, but we've got to go to the song.
And I'm excited for you to say it
guest.
takes 2 to tango again.
It's my show now.
So
Now we've got to move on here. There's a big revelation in
not
tonight.
letting
There's
me
something
get to
happening tonight's episode.
So
Yes.
good too.
Oh, was
I know,
it?
but-
I'm sorry, did he just do it again?
I'm coming back. I'm coming back tomorrow. I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. I'm coming back tomorrow to finish
Well,
this
who
point.
knows?
Look forward
What's
to it.
going on here? So, all right. So there's something big happening tonight on the show. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Wow, okay, Hughesy's getting annoyed. Hughesy is actually getting annoyed. You can see it in his face. He's blown away by what's happening. And I don't know what's going on with Erin now. I wonder if she's actually been taken in. Let's keep watching. I don't need to go over how he's treating Hughesy. It's clear that he is just wanting to completely disrespect him. So, okay. All right, Harrison, you've made your point. You will not have anything to do with Hughesy because he offers you nothing. That's the key point. You always have to remember, why are they treating certain people that way? Because they have nothing to offer you.
What's coming next? You said
Right. So, I can't go into specific details, but what I can say
Yes.
is that if you think this is bad, wait till you see what happens with the people that have been on their moral high horses about this.
That's what
It's
we
a
want.
long way to fall when you get up on that moral high
cheating,
horse.
like
Love this.
actual cheating.
I can't go into details.
Okay,
This
so
is
there's
good. That's
cheating.
tonight.
But let's
moral
just say,
high
let's
horse
just say there are
cheating.
things that are about to come to light in the experiment that make a phone number seem like child stuff.
Yeah, that you've got me in there.
There
That's a
are-
well done.
there
That's a
are-
great
and
tease.
the
I'm sorry, he has talked over Hughesy so many times. So many times. The amount of disrespect that he has for Hughesy who has been in the business for such a long time. And okay, it does not matter who you are. I'm not going to put anybody up on a pedestal. If Cher walked in, I still wouldn't care. That is a woman who I really used to idolize. But, you know, I don't believe anyone should treat anyone above anybody else. At the end of the day, people are people, humans are humans. You do not need to treat anybody as though you are above them. We are all supposed to be treated the way we want to be treated. Treat others the same way you want to be treated. That's exactly what it is. And this guy thinks everybody is beneath him. He believes he is the smartest person in the room. I actually think he might have a little bit more of... There could actually be other cluster B traits in this guy. I actually reckon that it's not just narcissism, because he really has got a very high opinion of himself, even more so than narcissistic. Like there could be ASP in there.
if you go back, I'm not going to say what it is specifically, but if you go back and watch last night's episode, the people that had the most to say are definitely throwing stones from a glass house.
Fantastic. That's
Sunday
your
night.
ability to do like analogies is great as well. So
Thank you, Hughesy.
Oh my God. It's getting too difficult to deal with. What the hell? That's a loss of track. I cannot get... Oh my God. I stopped him on the worst part. Okay. No. This is not okay. It is not okay that he thinks that he can actually talk this way about people. It is not. And talk this way to people. Talks over him. And then... Like, I'm genuinely dumbfounded. He really, really had it in for Husey, and he did not shy away from it. Now, who knows what happened behind the scenes there, but you've definitely played your hand to show exactly the type of person that the show was portraying you for. And if you didn't want people to think that you were this horrible, narcissistic, gaslighting, manipulative, horrible human being, you would have gone in with respect for every single person in that room, listen to Husey, listen to Aaron, listen to Ed, and answer the questions respectfully. That's it. Oh, my blood's boiling.
I've been working on them in the mirror all morning, so appreciate that.
Mate, you look great. You and Aaron have got along famously. Aaron, out of 10. Well, he's leaving on this.
Well, can I just say, Harrison, that when I was at Channel 9 for 10 years, one of the bosses there told someone that they'd rated me an 8 because I was hot, but not too hot that I'd intimidate other women to the point where they wouldn't want to watch me.
That's terrible.
I thought it was appalling too.
Okay, this is why Husey's so funny. That was brilliant. Yeah, Husey adding to the score here. That was fantastic. Like the snide comeback. But so what Harrison has been doing this whole time has been keeping a laser on Aaron, really trying to kick up chemistry, which is a very dangerous thing whenever you're in the presence of a narcissist, because let's face it, whenever you put chemicals together, something bad is going to happen eventually if you don't know what you're doing. So, yeah, she's told a story that is actually very upsetting. It's very traumatic. And then he goes in, oh my God, that's terrible. That's a form of trauma bonding. That is a form of trauma bonding. So he has used a delicate story that she is very insecure about, because of something that has happened to her. I completely understand that. That would be horrible, especially, saying that you're not attractive enough to make other people, jealous of you. That's not a nice thing to say. That is horrific that he ends up, he's weaponized it. He has used it as a form of connection. And that's what trauma bonding is. It's using something that has happened and turning it into something to bring them closer to you. It's like, I am so sorry that happened to you. That is awful. Come here, let me help you. That is what trauma bonding is. So let's see.
I was really annoyed.
God, he's adding to his score here. All right, come on, Aaron. What's he get out of really, Harrison?
That's like a backhanded compliment, isn't it?
Yeah. What's he getting?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where's
What's
those
he
other
getting?
two? Okay. So wait, we've got to refine that it's just purely on looks?
No, it's the whole package. You've had time with him,
Analogy.
so you've had his personality. You've had, you two. You look like you're getting
Don't
along
overthink
really
it, Aaron.
well.
Just shout it out.
Come on, what do we got?
Okay. I'm going to 9.
Oh,
Not bad.
not bad.
Not bad. What'd you knock a point off for?
Oh,
All right. Thank God that's over. Okay. Yeah. He is everything that the show portrayed him to be. He can't lie his way out of that. That's... Oh my God, I feel sick. Okay, that is a sign. That is also a big sign. If you ever meet someone and you have like a queasy feeling in your belly, oh, I'm so sorry. You can hear cars outside my place. But if you feel that, it's a sign to say that something's not quite right about the person. It doesn't necessarily mean that all the time. You could actually just be feeling a little bit queasy. But just the amount of disrespect he gave another person in front of other people, because he was so laser focused on the only woman in the room. And not only is she the only woman in the room, she's very attractive and she has a aspiring career in radio and media. So clearly that's what he's looking for. And that's why he ended up on the show, because he doesn't want to have a regular 9 to 5, and he needs narcissistic people need supply. And the best way to get supply is by having a mass audience. So, yeah, not happy with even sitting here and watching this. I don't know why I want to do this, but I hope that some of what I said has helped in some way for you to try and understand it from your perspective. And maybe MAFS does actually highlight the villains for what they truly are. If you really like this podcast, and if you loved what we've done today, breaking down certain talk shows, then let me know in the comments. DM me, you can send me anything. I am so grateful that you have sat and watched all of this. So please let me know what you think. This was fun. I like this. Let's do it again. You tell me. So you like, we're going to get a couple more of these because this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed breaking down Harrison to like show exactly how disgusting he is. So let's do that one again if you want. You can even send me requests to break down somebody else as well and see exactly what it is that they are doing and how we can protect ourselves with this sort of thing. So hopefully you've enjoyed, and I will see you again soon for another trip at traumapondhq. All right? Have a wonderful week, guys. I love you all so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.